Mentioned for the first time since '79, we have 2 Game 7s, and because of their great season, the Houston Rockets once again are headed home. We are very pleased to welcome in here for a couple minutes the head coach of the Houston Rockets, Mike D'Antoni. Coach, obviously the big question looms as far as CP3 is concerned. How is that injury progressing in the rehab of it?
Well, I think it's going good. I think he's listed as questionable, and he'll get I'm sure the team doctors will check him out tomorrow morning and see how far he's gotten and see what the possibilities are.
Will you take it all the way till game time before making a decision?
I'm not going to make that decision. That'll be the doctors, and maybe, but we're not going to be coy with it. As soon as we know, we'll say it. But we might not know until afternoon, see how it goes. But or he tests it out, so we'll have to. That's kind of play it by ear right now.
Your guys have done a terrific job, Coach, stepping up with the additional minutes as they have all year, that supporting cast. P.J. Tucker, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza. A lot of minutes. Will the rotation be extended at all heading into a Game 7, or pretty much as is now, the way it was in Game 6?
Well, you kind of got to look at it. You realize that, Golden State's Big Four plays more minutes than our guys. So I don't know where it's kind of a misconception that we're only playing 7, but, I can divide up the 7th player within 3 players, and they say, oh, you got a big rotation, but the same guys are going to play the same minutes. So not quite accurate about the minutes. Their load is below 40 minutes, most of them, and Trevor's trying to mirror Durant. So if Durant plays 41, Trevor's going to play about that. So we're trying to cut it down as much as we can, but we also have to have production, so we'll have to play it by ear.
Coach, obviously 21 turnovers, more than you would like. A lot now on James without CP3 there as a floor general. What needs to be done for your team to limit those turnovers to have success in a Game 7?
Well, we just got to make better decisions, and they're good. A lot of it is their fault. They're playing really well, and Draymond is really great about either, acting like he's coming and helping or going back off of it, got high hands. So they're doing their part. We just have to make a little bit better decisions, take care of the ball. But that's a big key. The transition, when we turn it over like that, then that means they get out in the transition. It's a double whammy. So if we can take care of the ball, we'll have a good chance to win.
Best of luck in Game 7. Thanks so much for a couple minutes, Coach. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So Mike talked about the rotation, said maybe it's a little bit overdone. Overplayed, that he shortens the rotation, because he says his guys are playing the same minutes as the Big Four of the Warriors, except those guys may be more used to it than P.J. Tucker is at this point, playing 40-plus minutes. So, Brendan, you tell me, is this a big deal or not a big deal when you look at the Rockets heading into Game 7?
It is a big deal, because when you have someone like P.J. Tucker and Trevor Ariza, when those guys play 40 minutes, it's a lot different than somebody that's been used to playing 35-plus minutes all year long. I think I harken back to my career. I normally played under 30 minutes. On the couple of occasions that I played over 30 minutes, or 35, 36, 37 minutes, I felt it the next day. I was so much tired. Just that 5 to 6 minutes extra on the court meant so much to my body. And so, yeah, it can wear guys down. The thin bench does mean a lot more to the Rockets, especially with CP3 being out. Some of these guys aren't used to playing heavy minutes. I think that's also why their turnovers were so high, 21 turnovers. Some of that was probably due to fatigue.
Coach, when you look at what happened, whether it's because they were tired or not, there were mistakes, and you can't do that with the defending champs. They're champs for a reason, took advantage of each and every one.
They do, and you can't be careless with the basketball. You can't wind up turning it over unnecessarily. We've got a few examples for you that we can watch. In particular, coming down on offense, Houston with the ball. Look, Gerald Green's not looking. The ball's in the air. It winds up hitting him. Here they come. Now watch the first mistake. 2 defenders run to the basketball instead of communicating. Now, as he passes out of the double team, we'll see the 3rd defender shade over towards where Durant is. Nobody on the other side, because 2 guys are playing the man, cutting down low. Look how far back behind the 3-point line Curry launches that one from. Watch Durant block the shot. He takes the ball, leads the fast break. Look at what happens with the other Houston defenders. They are not seeing the ball. Durant realizes that. What's he saying, P.J. Tucker, right here?
Help! Somebody help me!
He knows his teammates are watching. Durant takes it all the way to the basket. Watch Green direct traffic here. He'll tell his teammate, you go get the ball, I'm going to back off him. Guard him, go get him. Well, Nick Young goes over there, but he flops again. He rotates out, blocks a Draymond, leads the fast break, and he knows that the guy who picked up the ball and gave it to him happened to be Klay Thompson. Again, look how far behind the three-point line he is. Notice how Thompson wind up 3 feet behind the three-point line. It makes it that much harder for the defender to rotate out and challenge their shots.
One thing, and I saw you talking about this last night. I watched the show, and I agree with you. That's great about the Warriors. When they see somebody hot, doesn't matter who it is, they will all make sure that guy gets a run and gets the ball, and that's what happened with Klay Thompson.
That's exactly what happened, and especially in the third quarter. Klay got red hot. All of his teammates were looking for him in transition. You could see they were trying to find, where's Klay Thompson? Other guys like Jordan Bell and those guys were trying to set screens. Where can we set a screen for Klay Thompson? It's all about getting Klay Thompson open. Golden State is excellent at that. Understanding who the hot man is and doing everything they can to make sure the ball continues to get in his hand. That's why when guys in Golden State get hot, they tend to get red hot because they get easier shots because their teammates are constantly setting screens, getting them open through pin downs, and also trying to find the ball, make sure the ball finds them.
All right, now.
It's a Bay Area bucket binge by the Warriors, who lived to see a Game 7 of the conference finals. They outscored the Rockets by 46 after trailing by 17 in the first quarter. And we have a Game 7 coming up on Monday night. That's Grant Hill, Brendan Haywood. I'm Matt Weiner. Post-game coverage here. Klay Thompson, reminiscent of his Game 6 against Oklahoma City a couple of years ago when they were facing elimination, goes off for 21 of his 35 in the second half, and the Rockets either ran out of gas or just ran into a very motivated Warriors team.
Matt, I think it was both. I mean, we talked early, we saw the first quarter. Houston came out on fire, hitting shots, just playing with so much confidence, and the Warriors were on the ropes there. But I'll tell you what, they showed a lot of heart. They started to get some momentum there in the second quarter. And really, that second half, defensively, what they did, they increased the activity, the energy level, getting steals, deflections, getting out in the open court, getting shots, of course, and then Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, the Splash Brothers were just, truly amazing tonight. What a performance, what a second half, what a team effort there, Golden State, especially being down early, big. I think 17 points at one point.
And looking bad in the first quarter. The Warriors did not look like themselves at all early on in this game.
Looked as bad as I've seen them all season.
Obvious question for the Rockets. How much did they miss Chris Paul in this game?
They missed Chris Paul a lot. Not only did they miss Chris Paul from a playmaking standpoint and a guy that could facilitate, take the ball out of James's hands at times, but they missed him from a leadership standpoint. In the second half, this team flat out crumbled. They were outscored 64-25 in the second half. That can't happen. Now, I understand you might get outscored. I understand the Golden State Warriors are an excellent third quarter team, but 64-25, 25 points in an NBA playoff basketball game for a second half, that's really unexcusable. So I think they really miss Chris Paul's playmaking, but more importantly, they miss his spirit, his fire, his competitive nature.
And, of course, valuing the basketball. They coughed up the basketball so much, 21 turnovers there. Golden State was able to get out, capitalize off those turnovers. Chris Paul's there, another ball handler, also another playmaker, a guy who can go get a basket for himself or create for his teammates. They really only had James Harden to do that against a defense that was amped up and ramped up in the second half. So Chris Paul, a healthy Chris Paul, was out there playing. I'm not saying they would have won the game.
Right.
I think they would have given themselves a chance, and Golden State might not have had that big-time victory or second half that they were able to pull off.
Well, and so often during this series, we've seen Chris Paul either hit a big shot or make a big defensive play or a stand or just calm people down when things weren't going the Rockets' way. And obviously that was missing. It doesn't carry the same impact from the sideline. It's hard to even ask you about Game 7 because we don't know who's going to play. We don't know if Chris Paul can play in Game 7. No sense of what the severity of his hamstring issue is. Don't really know if Andre Iguodala is going to play for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr said in his press conference he's going to operate under the assumption that he won't be back. But based on what you do know, what do you expect in Game 7?
Well, assuming that both those guys don't play. I mean, I think Houston did do some good things out there early. They got a little fatigued, I think, and also, of course, the energy that Golden State brought in the second half really, I think, really bothered them. They'll be at home. They'll be able to feed off that energy at home. They need to try to come out with the same mindset that they had tonight. They were free, they were loose, they played with confidence, they spread the ball around, guys were shooting the ball well. They have to value the basketball. And, of course, defensively, I mean, Klay Thompson, what he did was fantastic. Steph Curry. But, you know, you can't let those guys. A couple times I thought Klay had some open looks. Got to get back in transition. You know, at this point, it's just a fight. I mean, you're just going to have to fight for every possession. You're going to have to shoot the ball well. You're going to have to compete. They've done it thus far, and they can do it again. It's just going to be difficult without Chris Paul.
It's going to be very difficult to do without Chris Paul. Without that secondary ball handle, puts a lot of pressure on James Harden. We saw James Harden in this game come out absolutely on fire, had 17 points early in this game, and it was looking like it was going to be his night. But when you have to score the way he's forced to score without Chris Paul, which is one-on-one dribble, dribble, dribble from the top of the key, from the left side of the three-point line, the right side, that is a hard way to earn a living, and it is super hard to do and keep your energy up and not be tired if you're doing that for the whole game. If all of your buckets have to be isolation plays where you take 8 to 10 to 15 dribbles, you're going to be wore out in the second half, especially when on the other side, those guys are figuring out how to move the ball. This game, Golden State had 26 assists. They figured out a way to move the ball. Klay Thompson was able to get easier shots. Same thing for Steph Curry. So those guys are getting easier shots. You're working for all your shots. I think Golden State's probably going to get Houston at home because Harden by himself just simply won't be enough. They're asking too much of him.
You know, he can say he didn't feel it, but he looked exhausted in the second half, particularly late in that third quarter. Golden State pushes this to a Game 7. It'll happen Monday night on TNT.